If somebody comes out and says you use a double-sided sex toy, it's going to be funny. People are going to talk about it.
Pics or it didn't happen. So do you want to try M-Sculpt?
Yeah. On my tummy, on my booty, everything.
I hear it's not like they made it seem painful. I hear it is kind of painful. Like it's a lot of like.
Well, I assume so because it'd be painful if I did like a whole bunch of squats and crunches, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like it seems to me it looks like, they take the paddles like cleared and they're like bringing your butt back to life because it died. I don't know.
All right, but it's very alive.
Your butt's it's not going through rigor mortis like those old bitches.
I'm the same age as you.
Oh. Awkward. Yeah, but I told you I did some freelance work for plastic surgeons in the past, and one of them had that. I never saw it in action. Oh wait, actually maybe I did.
Oh, you saw other women's butts?
I think I might have. This was long before you. Don't pull that BS. Yeah, no, I think I did actually do
I saw a lot of dudes' butts too.
Yeah, with M-Sculpt.
Sure, why not?
It's so sexy. Those giant electric paddles just toning up their old wrinkly butts. It's great. Yeah, got me real horned up.
Okay, so happy Mother's Day to me.
Happy Mother's Day from the You Mean to Me podcast. So why are we recording on a Monday? Because we didn't record last week.
It's a Sunday, by the way.
Well, we're going to be uploaded Monday. God damn it. Yeah, we're recording on a Sunday, uploading on a Monday. This is going to be Real Housewives and maybe a little bit of VanderPump. And then Thursday's episode will be all wrestling. We skipped last week. We didn't get to do the season premiere of the Housewives. I know you had a lot to say.
Yes.
But now we can roll it all into one. So welcome to You Mean to Me podcast. I'm Chris Robinson.
Antonia Robinson.
And each week we go over, lately it's been mostly wrestling, but we're going to start getting into the Housewives. We might do two awake. We might do them awake or sleep. We might do, we might do 2 a week because I was laid off from my job last week. So I got a lot of free time. So 2 episodes of the podcast I should be able to handle. No, nothing. Did you not want me to bring in the real world?
No, that's fine.
If you're looking to hire somebody to do things like this, I'm your guy. No.
Yes.
But anyway, so Real Housewives, we're 2 episodes in.
Yes.
They're sculpting butts. They're yelling at each other. Everybody's a drug dealer. Everybody was sneaking around at the reunion last year. So what kind of has been your big takeaway now, 2 episodes in? What's got you going?
I won't be shy about it. I am Team Teresa.
Yeah, we know.
All the way. Now, that being said, I don't hate the other team. I like Melissa. And I think, listen, I'm a realist. Margaret plays a part. If there's no Margaret, there's no feud, right? So it's a whole thing. But I am looking forward to the season because, Teresa's been doing her, press tour and talking about vindication and what's going to come out. And I think I finally pieced it together.
What's coming out?
Yeah, because I told you this. They gave Mr. Ruelas a hard time last season.
Who?
Ruelas, Louis' last name.
Call him Louis. I don't know his last name.
Ruelas.
Yeah, no, well, great. Now we know.
They gave him a hard time at the last reunion. You even said he didn't sound that great. He doesn't present himself well.
Oh, you're gonna find out. Oh, you're gonna know when it happens.
But
yeah.
I don't.
Mr. Empty Threats.
I feel like people were shaking in their boots, and I was like, these people seem nervous about this private investigator a little too much. It goes beyond it's creepy. They seemed nervous, right? And then they came with their manila envelopes and all this information, all these receipts that never actually proved nothing.
Yeah. You called my son at his place of business. I'm like, and okay, so what was the phone That's
and I'm sorry, I 100% don't believe that happened. Listen, Louis and Teresa are a lot of things, but stupid is not one of them. And nobody's going to call your son at their place of business and knowing that could be traced, knowing that could be recorded, and say something stupid. I don't think so. I 100% believe that was some sort of spoofing incident.
The thing on this show I've noticed the most, it's a lot of empty threats.
It is.
It's a lot of people
But
claiming
I don't think it's going to be empty with Teresa this season.
Okay.
Because what a lot of people know, if you're a big fan of the show, Louis has been having issues with an ex that's been kind of coming out and talking some shit. What some people may not remember, but I do. Louis' second season on the show, he actually lost his job because of this information that came out.
I remember that. I remember them talking about that.
Yeah, so he lost his job. So if I'm over here coming after someone who's harassing me, who's coming after my livelihood, it's very common to get a private eye for those kinds of lawsuits, right? To like build up a case against the other person, especially if it's a civil lawsuit, because the police aren't going to get involved. They're not going to do your investigative work. You get a private eye. And if this private eye in his work figured out that he has to look at his coworkers, because remember, they're all coworkers, right? They all work with Bravo. It makes sense that he would need that.
His coworkers.
They're coworkers.
The other people on the reality show.
They're coworkers.
Chosen to be there. They're not meeting around the water cooler. What are we going to do on the show today? They're not coworkers.
They're coworkers.
Co-stars.
Coworkers.
Oh
so anyway, so they look into the coworkers. So I do think that they're nervous because if you're doing all this, you're going to find some shit out. And so I do think what's going to come out is a lot of information about Margaret actually communicating with the ex and trying to get the information on the show. And probably some stuff about John Fuda. John Fuda's an idiot. The first 2 episodes of this.
All right, yeah, let's go to Mr. John Fuda, who apparently got arrested for dealing pot when he was 17 or 18.
I heard it was cocaine, but okay.
You heard it was cocaine from who? Your sources on the streets?
The dirt sheets.
The dirt. No, there's no dirt. No, don't pull wrestling into this. The blog. Anybody can make up anything on the internet. Like unless there's a hard arrest record out there.
There was an arrest record, so he was
okay
arrested.
For weed. Who? First of all, I don't care if he was a drug dealer when he was a teenager, and now he's in his 30s, early 40s, whatever fuck old he is. But the other thing too about the sex toys. Who cares? What are we doing here? Now you just that's high school bullshit. Okay, the drug dealing is like we deal drugs.
You don't want anybody sex shamed here.
It's just okay. How do you find that out? If an ex of his she's in jail.
And she was incarcerated, yes.
Who's trying to just wants to make him sound like a fucking
No, you know
weirdo?
what? Here's the thing.
But who cares?
I don't say anybody gotta care, but don't tell me that this woman doesn't have like a dog in the fight. You can hold on. Shh, I'm talking. Last season, their whole storyline, separate from the incidents within the group, was that she was like Rachel Fuda was trying to adopt her son, John's son, from this previous relationship, and making claims about how she was the only one there for him. She shouldn't have to fight for him. I'm his mother. There's no other mother in his life, right? I'm sorry if you're out here dogging me as a mom and using me and my life and my son as your storyline. I'm not staying quiet. And like the fact that John Fuda thinks like nobody was gonna go finding his ex-wife, like come on, bro, come on. So no, I can understand not caring. I don't think John Fuda, but the same way John Fuda is going to be held to his past as a 17-year-old. Like, don't come then and start trying to like cause some sort of like, deflection by bringing up Teresa's old time. She did her time too. She's moved on. She's our whole thing about criminal justice is you want to be, what's the word?
Vindicated?
Not vindicated.
Oh, like you serve your time and now you're a functioning member of society? Or
yeah, it's all about
rehabilitation?
Rehabilitation. She's been rehabilitated.
I'm not talking about any of that. This is what you're going off these tangents.
I'm not going off tangents. You're talking about how John Fuda shouldn't be like, all this stuff doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, but that's the
sex toy stuff. The sex toy stuff. And that's going to be like a running joke for the rest of the season.
It is funny. It is funny. If somebody comes out and says you use a double-sided sex toy, it's going to be funny. People are going to talk about it.
Pics or it didn't happen.
What?
Pics or it didn't happen. And we're in 2024, so high definition 4K video from an iPhone or it didn't happen. Like, I don't care. Like that just they're just trying to make him sound like a weirdo or a sex shame.
They're trying to make Louis sound like a weirdo for a whole year. Come on now.
That's not hard to do. My guy looks like a weirdo.
And so does John Fuda. You see that man on your screen every 2 minutes and you're like, yeah, that's a normal bro.
He has a tiny head. He looks like he pissed off some sort of like voodoo princess and they were like shrunken head and he was like, oh no, and it's just getting smaller and smaller.
Listen, I just have no sympathy for the Fudas, and I don't know why you're trying to get it.
Sympathy right there. I think it's stupid. Like stick to the good stuff.
Okay, you don't know how reality TV works.
Stick to the juicy stuff. That's not
juicy stuff. That is juicy stuff.
Pics or it's not juicy. That's all I'm saying.
All of it's gossip, though. Everything's gossip.
I think it's funny, and I mentioned it while we were watching it, like the way they kind of like edit the show. That they all knew they were going to be at the event on tonight's episode for Danielle's husband, and they still acted like, oh, Teresa's here, and Louis, oh god. It's like you knew this was happening. Like, why is this surprising to you? Like it's just like, and even when they were like, can we just keep this all civil? And John Fuda's like, oh, if somebody, pokes me or says something, like, what am I going to do? Like, you're not a tough guy. You got arrested for selling weed, and you and your buddies use double-sided dildos. You're drinking out of an inflatable ass next week in the preview. Like, my guy, you're not tough. Like, stop acting like you're fucking. All these are wannabe fucking tough guys. And if he had gotten in a real fight with that Paulie dude.
Oh, Paulie would have laid him the
Paulie
fuck out.
would have smashed that dude.
I don't know what he's like acting like. This would have gone to another level. Yeah, you would have been on the floor or on the stretcher.
Me hitting you hitting the ground.
Like, listen, Paulie's one-liner is like, I was ready to put my tits out and breastfeed him. Like, that shit was hilarious.
That Paulie is fucking thick. He would just been like, I'm gonna just grab this arm and tear you apart. Like, that's what would have happened. And then the Vine and Oak would have been like, oh, please don't tell anybody about this. Love the Vine and Oak, by the way. Shout out to
and Restaurante MV, by the way.
And so we've mentioned this on the show before. If you're like, oh, I don't really like wrestling, but you're like, ooh, I want to hear what Tony has to say about the Housewives. So all your coworkers, we like to go to the restaurants that appear on the show. But as we found out tonight, Tony only wants to go to places that Teresa has frequented. Because one popped up, it was Danielle, or who was it? Was
Aaliyah. I don't
Melissa?
know. But it was Melissa's daughter's birthday, and like you were like, "Oh, what's that place?" I'm like, "No,
You were like, no.
Wait to Teresa only, honey. Teresa only."
Put your phone down. We don't need to go there. So yeah, we went to Restaurante MV, which was in the first episode. Louis and Teresa and
Dolores and Paul.
Yeah, we're there having dinner, and you were like, and like it's like she watches Real Housewives now with like open table ready on her phone, like where is it? Open table, okay. And like we had.
Well, failed to mention it was our 6-month anniversary. By the way.
Yeah, but we could have gone anywhere, and you.
What do you mean anywhere? No, we had to go somewhere special, and that's Real Housewives.
Well, we frequent the Vine and Oak. We've been frequent patrons of the Vine and Oak for the last several months before we knew it was on the show. It's just a restaurant. I worked and for a long time near Cranford and in Cranford, New Jersey, so I know the place. And it's a great restaurant. But yeah, just seeing it like showcased in that first episode, we were like a little fanboy and fangirl. But then Restaurante MV we went to. We had a nice night just last night.
Yeah, it was really cool. I liked it. I even talked to the lady we were waiting for our table, and I was like, oh, and she goes, oh, it's always like this when we come here because we're really busy. Yeah. And she's like, oh, we've been here a lot. I was like, oh, it's our first time. I came because it was on the Housewives premiere show. And then Chris gets mad at me because I'm always making friends.
Well, it's a very Burnsville, New Jersey, where the restaurant is. It's a very nice area. It's a very like I assume that the restaurant itself is like already well known and well frequented and does great business, and the Housewives being there, like, you know, wasn't gonna like skyrocket it because it's already looks like it's pretty packed on a regular basis. Yeah. But this isn't a restaurant podcast. But it's just nice that they didn't have like a big argument there. That was like a nice tame Housewives dinner as opposed to then Vine and Oak where it was like, tension's rising. And then even on this latest episode, the Waterfront, which is down in like South Jersey near the shore. I've never been there, but there it's like, oh no, the tension. Like, but we have gospel singers. You can't fight now. Like what? Like
it was really funny they were dancing to the gospel singers. No.
I mean, it's a party, so they're kind of like a lot of gospel music is more upbeat, and you can kind of dance to it.
I guess
they're not going to be like getting down and freaky to it, but you can kind of like just white people dance to it. Like.
Yeah, I guess.
What are you looking at?
Isabel's over here.
Oh, so then at the end of the second episode, now the end of the first episode was Teresa yelling at John Fuda, "You're a drug dealer," and him yelling like, you know, "You're a has-been," all that crap, which is like, how is she a has-been, homie? Like, she's the star of the show. Let's all be real here.
Everybody knows Teresa. This bitch has been in Super Bowl commercials. She's been on other, like...
Namaste, bitch.
Yeah, on other Bravo, like, franchises. Okay, she was one of the first ones on the Ultimate Girls Trip. Like, they always talk about the Mount Rushmore of Housewives, and Teresa Giudice is on there.
She's the Roman Reigns.
Listen, if it makes her iconic, yes, she is the Roman Reigns.
As we talked about in the last episode. And then, as I said this week...
sending me messages on my phone? Is it going to interrupt the video?
It's on silent.
Oh, okay.
Great pause in the podcast. I can edit around that. Just because I have a lot of free time doesn't mean I'm going to, like, edit the shit out of it.
You don't need to leave it out like it's a real conversation. Anyway.
We shoot on iPhones and a DSLR. Anyway.
I just don't think John Fuda knows what he's doing. Like, I feel like he thinks, like, you know, like when you go into jail and you got to fight the toughest guy there, you know?
He's not the toughest guy in jail.
No, I think he's trying to come for Teresa like that, and I don't think he realizes, like, it's one thing to want to take her down, but to throw shit like, oh, you're a has-been.
It's an empty insult.
And, like, you're the poster child for Morgan. Like, this is an icon, all right? Like, if you want to, like, throw daggers, like, be smart. Like, at least Margaret's smart about it. Margaret doesn't attack her for her time in jail. Margaret doesn't attack her. Like, she goes after, like, you know, like her weaknesses, you know? So.
Yeah. I mean, but the end of that episode, like I've been saying before, the last few weeks leading up to this, is it sets her up. She still is the heel. But then, like, tonight she had that moment, like, that, like, acknowledge me moment with Jen Fessler. Like, kind of, they had a little sit down, the private talk, like, you know, I heard some things. Like, no, this is what really happened. Like, she kind of kissed the ring there. She kind of bowed the knee, kissed the ring to Teresa a little bit. And everybody was kind of like, bleh. And then on the other side of things, you got Teresa's brother, Joe Gorga, who they set up as the babyface tonight. Like, as the, you know, open arms to the gay couple. He's going to officiate their wedding, which then he kind of joked about later on, which was kind of like, hey, man, they're trying to make you the babyface. Don't screw this up.
I mean, but they're the forced babyface. It's like
but they're setting that up. The producers in the show are setting that up.
I guess, if you want to say it that way. I mean, to me, when I see them as a family, it looks very forced. Like, when I watch Teresa...
They're not killing puppies on the side. What do you mean it feels forced? They're just a nice, wholesome family, right?
But it doesn't seem genuine. Like, it seems like they're all putting on an act. Like, they all got a script beforehand. Like, with her mom and her sisters. Like, even that little bitch, like, oh, you got to go and explore your wild oats. Like, she's just trying to pretend like she's like, she wants to do one of those ditzy things that Teresa does all the time, where Teresa has her Teresa-isms and stuff. Like, it doesn't feel authentic to me. So, I don't know. It doesn't seem like... But when you see Teresa and her 4 daughters... Daughters? Like
Waters?
It seems like Gia's over here on her laptop and she's just having a conversation with her mama and she's like, you always crying. Like, that looks like more like a conversation between daughter and mom. Like,
but she can be two people. She can be the loving, doting mother and the loving, doting wife.
I'm just saying it's more genuine when you see her in her moments of like she does it. Like, Teresa knows how to play the game, but Teresa is still like Teresa.
When she's with the bloodline, she's happy, nice Teresa. And then when she has to get in the ring with these other people, these other factions that they've created, with clear factions, they have 3 different houses with 3 different groups. Like, there's the Teresa-sided people, there's the Gorga-sided people, and then there's kind of like the neutral swing both ways parties. Danielle, Jen Fessler. Like,
I think Danielle's going to swing Margaret's way, though.
But I'm just saying, you see what I'm saying, though? It's set up.
It's like,
I
get what you're saying.
Whose side are you on? You have to pick a side. Like, they're going to make these women pick a side, just like what happens on Vanderpump right now with Tom and Ariana. It's like, whose side are you on? Who are you going to piss off? How's it going to affect the friend group moving forward?
I get it. But yeah, it looks like it's shaping up to be an interesting season.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, Jen Fessler's kind of like, Teresa made her kiss the ring. Kind of like, oh, I like heard some stuff. No, I never said that.
Or maybe Teresa's just really a nice person and Jen is honest as her own person and made a decision to be friends with Teresa.
Okay, if you're really friends with somebody, you don't start a fucking scene and start screaming at somebody they're a drug dealer at the person's birthday party.
What do you mean?
What are you talking about? Teresa started that whole scene with John Fuda at Jen Fessler's birthday party.
She did not start the scene.
She didn't start that whole thing. She didn't start yelling at him. Well, no.
No.
Jennifer came up to her.
No, Rachel. First of all, you're getting all the people wrong. So learn the names.
They all look
Rachel was the one who said, hey, John. And then she goes, hey, Teresa, you want to tell my husband what you said? You want to tell my husband what you said?
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear that.
But she didn't have to escalate it. She could have just been like...
She didn't have to escalate it? Have you seen Teresa Giudice? This bitch is known for flipping a table. Escalation is her middle name, okay?
Acknowledge her. Roman Reigns.
Like, you think you're going to come for her? Like, she's just going to come back bigger and hard? Like, no, come on now.
Well, it's fucking both then, because it's somebody's birthday party at a nice restaurant.
And Rachel was the one who planned the whole thing, and she wants to start shit. I don't think... And, like, her husband was the one who said to... Louis, when they texted separately, like, oh, you want to talk me into man? Let's do it at the birthday party. And that's when Louis was like, no, that's someone's like event. Let's do this separately. So I don't want to hear, like, it was Rachel and John who fucked up Jen Fessler's birthday. Okay.
Louis the wise man, Paul Heyman. He was like, no, we have to keep. You got so mad.
Because first of all, you don't know anybody's names. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been watching it. How long has it been on? 14 years, something like that. I've been watching it for 2. This is, I think, my 3rd season that we've watched together. Like, yeah, sorry, they all look the fucking same.
They do. They all have the same plastic.
They're all tan, dark hair. They're all wonderful, beautiful, nice women. But it starts to blend together in my brain. So
like long dark hair, same cheekbone fillers.
Danielle's the only one who stands out because she's the only blonde right now, right? And Margaret. Danielle and Margaret. Everyone else is like, and Jen Fessler just because she keeps making creepy fucking faces. That woman's eyes go like, like she's got a little demonic look to her. That lady scares me.
She's cool.
She seems very nice. She seems very like she just wants to be somebody's sidekick.
That bitch just wants to eat and have a good time.
She's just
here's my vibe.
She's like, if I piss you off, but I'm her best friend, that's fine. Like she's just trying to find her niche in the group and be somebody's sidekick or somebody's lapdog. She's trying to be the solo Sokoa, but then she'll take over. No, keep comparing it to wrestling because that's what it is. All right. So is there anything else after these first 2 episodes that you're, the previews we've seen, is there anything that you're looking forward to, excited about, anything?
I mean, I'm looking forward because like the one thing that they've been like teasing at for the longest time is like the shift in relationships. We're seeing a little bit now with Jen Fessler. It's supposed to happen with Jackie as well. You're supposed to see a rift in the relationship with Jen Aiden and Danielle. Which Danielle, I'm like, I know she's nice and she's currently like in the middle. I think she's going to start shifting towards the other side of like Team Melissa, Team Margaret. But I also don't like her as a person and how she's like, I don't like to like mom shame, but she's really like really one of those like stage moms, and it makes me very uncomfortable.
Oh, with the photo shoot with the kid.
With the kid, and remember when like they had that money gun and like the daughter was dancing and they were like shooting the money at her and like one of those.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, but she was like, "Oh yeah, my daughter's like," because they also uncovered a lot of old film or like old like things of like Danielle trying to be like, this is not her first reality show. She's been on something else. So they got like My Staten Island Life or some dumb shit. And then they also caught her in like a competition trying to like impersonate Britney Spears. And like she
looks a lot like Britney Spears.
And she was there trying to perform like her. So she's been aiming for the limelight for the longest time.
It's all these people. I mean, we learned that at VanderPump.
And I heard that's the rift between her and her brother is that like he just can't with her nonsense in trying to like be this person.
She wants to be a star. She wants to be a personality on TV and be able, because once you kind of get into that world and take off on one thing, that's when you can kind of start to branch out and use your name value to either become an influencer, get your daughter acting gigs, or get on other shows, like, start a podcast, like all these people do. Podcasters. You almost didn't, but you almost admit we were actually at an event this weekend. Somebody was like, "You have a podcast?"
And then we call it an event, like we were at a baby shower.
We were at an event. All our friends were there. They were filming it. No. Yeah. And somebody was like, "Oh, you have a podcast?" You were like, "Well, like
shout out to my friend Laura. That was my coworker Laura and her husband Aaron, who you didn't remember, and I put you on the spot. And yeah, they came up and then they mentioned like our podcast, and like it felt weird to me because they're like, "Oh, you have a podcast?" I'm like, well, we're not big. Like, we just do it for funsies, guys. Like,
we want to be big.
What do you talk about? It's like, it's kind of stupid. We just talk about wrestling and nonsense.
We sit in our house. We talk into microphones. There's 3 cameras, 2 lights, 2 microphones. Like, it's a fucking setup to make this thing happen.
It just looks impressive because that's what you do.
So remember to like and subscribe to your Mean to Me podcast. Yeah, but it's just funny. But anyway, and Vanderpump. So we'll go like 5 more minutes. Like Vanderpump's wrapped up.
So it's wrapped up. It's
now it's the reunion.
Reunion is this week. And it's going to be a shit show, I heard. Shit show. Oh, my God. And I'm just so over these women who just, like, my biggest issue right now is Lala going like, but he didn't kill anybody. Like, is this the bar we're setting with shitty people? Like, if you're not Hitler, yeah, right? Like, there's like, like, come on now.
If you're not Hitler, yeah. Yeah, it's been going on with Lala and with Sheena, where they're torn because they keep seeing him as Tom Sandoval, this guy who's been cool to us and nice to us. And all this stuff when Sheena was like, "Oh, did you bring your sound engineer guy just for me?" He was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh," it's just like, I keep saying this, you can be 2 people, but Ariana's made it clear she doesn't want someone in her life that's friends with both of them. She's had to keep things the way they are because of the show. If the show didn't exist, Ariana wouldn't talk to Tom Schwartz. Ariana would never see Tom Sandoval after they dissolved the house situation, correct? She would cut these people out of her life with no issue, but she's had to keep them there for the show. And we saw that last scene when she just fucking walked away when Sandoval tried to walk into the scene and interrupt the conversation.
And you know what? They need to be kissing her ass because Rachel walked away from the show.
Completely.
Because Sandoval was a big thing, and I know Bravo wanted to ride that wave as long as possible. And they wanted it for this season. Rachel not coming back was a blow to that, right? Without Rachel... But they
still found a way to bring her in because she's constantly making comments on her podcast.
So if Ariana had said, "I'm walking away from this because bitch is getting money," like she got her endorsements coming in. She had Dancing with the Stars. She's going to host Love Island. She don't fucking need the Vanderpump check no more.
She's got a sandwich shop that apparently is finally going to open.
But, and everybody, like, so... and then Lala's over here saying she got money. Like, bitch, you've been in one commercial and it's because of Ariana. She was in like that, like Uber Eats movie.
Bitch, you were in one commercial.
Yeah. Ariana could have been like, you know what? I'm doing well. I'm going to open my sandwich shop. Peace. And it would have screwed it all up because nobody wants to watch just Tom Sandoval in this situation.
Yeah, I don't care about, what's his face, James and his astrology girl, and I don't care about Katie. Katie doesn't even seem to have a storyline this season. Just
her storyline was not liking Joe.
Not liking Joe, yeah. Being by Ariana's side, not liking Joe, trying to hook up with that girl that was also trying to date Schwartz.
And that was only like an episode. They made it sound like that was going to be an ongoing thing. We haven't seen that girl since.
Yeah. She was killed. But yeah, like their feud with Joe, which also kind of culminated with her trying to apologize and her being like, no, go fuck yourself. Like, and then that dissipated. So I mean, yeah, I feel like a lot of they owe the enhanced popularity to Sandoval, and they kind of got shot in the foot with Rachel not being on the show and disappearing. She's still definitely been a part of the show constantly because she keeps talking shit. Now she's suing them. I don't think that was mentioned in the show, but I think the big thing for me is the reunion is all the things they've said, either in the confessionals with the producer, and just some of the things like now they've all seen everything that was said, everything that was done, and they're gonna react to it. And so it's like even the stuff with like Tom meeting what's his name, Danny, Ariana's guy.
Dan,
yeah, like that was so awkward. Like it was just kind of like, hey man,
and he comes off like a cool dude, and Lala's over here like he seems like a square. It's like, first of all, who calls anybody a square? Lala, like
he seems like a real herb.
That's our thing.
Legally, I can't speak about it.
But like, it's just really annoying that these girls are not being girls because like they keep saying like, oh, everybody's been cheated on. I'm like, I think, and Katie said it best. It's not about the cheating. It's about the choices he made. He didn't make a mistake. He made a series of choices.
He snuck around. And
not only that, but he kind of almost like, they were kind of like bold about it at one point where they were doing things that like, looking back, you're like, damn, they were being really bold. They were trying to be like, oh, we're like hiding in plain sight. They thought this shit was cute. So I don't want anybody coming over after like, I found out my man of 10 years is over here. And she's right. Like nobody really ever pointed this out, but like, if he was fucking around for a long time and unprotected, like, as your woman, like, you could have came back and gave me something.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of damage you could have done to this person.
Yeah.
And they want to act like, well, you should move on. And it's like, she is moved on. Oh, but you're still in the house. Like, bitch, that's my money, too. Like, don't fuck with my money.
Yeah, shared real estate's a mess.
Like they make it sound like it's so easy to just be like, okay, I'm going to sell it to him. Like, no, first of all, why should you get the benefit? And she's not stupid. She knew Tom's finances. The minute she said she agreed to it, Tom couldn't pull the money together.
Yeah.
And he wants to claim it's because she took too long. She dragged her feet. Bitch, I know you didn't have that money the first time. So, yes, I'm kind of tired of this, too. Like, I think this is the end of Vanderpump. There's no way. Because if Ariana...
Well, they stopped filming. They said they're not going to be filming for...
They didn't say
a break.
On pause.
On pause.
And they said they thought it was related to the Love Island thing with Ariana. Because, quite frankly, if Ariana's on the show, who are you talking about? Because every conversation being had without Ariana in it was about Ariana and Tom. Okay. Aside from the Joe stuff, which turned ugly this week, too. That was weird. It was very odd.
Poor Joe. She's a weirdo. Her and Schwartz have both spent too much time in the California sun. Like, there's just something wrong there. And
then Brock's an asshole. Like, aside from like Tom Sandoval, the worst guy on this show is Brock.
Yeah, get rid of.
First of all, I have
Brock and Sheena. Honestly,
zero respect for any man who raises his voice at a woman, and the way he talks to his wife sometimes is dismissive and disgusting. And I'm sorry, like I told you, when I was in my 30s and dating, I knew my chances of finding a man with a kid was high. So, and I always said to my girlfriends, I was like, I'm fine with a kid as long as one, you on good terms with your baby mama, and you co-parent healthily. Or you have a healthy co-parenting relationship.
Close enough.
And two, you have an active participation in your son's life. Brock could never come 2 feet within my circle. Like, no, you mean to tell me, hey, you see your kids, they half a world away, you ain't paying your child support, fuck you. Get that out of my... And then now Sheena's surprised because she wants to go home to her kid at 9 o'clock at night. He wants to stay out. She's surprised he's not a good dad. Like,
spoiler alert.
You mean there were no warning signs that Brock was a shitty father who wants no actual participation? I need a nanny so I can get back to work. Like, working where?
Who could have seen this coming?
You're home all day. You need a nanny.
Oh.
So yes, this is my take on VanderPump Rules.
Tell us how you really feel.
So many opinions. All these people are so shitty.
Oh, yeah. That's why they call it like car crash TV, because it's just like...
It's just frustrating.
You can't look away, but at the same time, you really don't want to see it.
It's like when you're watching like the Knicks today and you want to yell at them, like, what the fuck are you doing?
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
It's the same thing. Every scene in Vanderpump this season was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Just want to shake them. You're like, you can't be this stupid, even for TV.
Oh, no, they can't. I watched the whole season. They can be pretty stupid.
And then the ending with Tom saying, "Oh, this looks good for me," like, homie.
Oh yeah, that was stupid on his part. Like that they were already breaking the fourth wall, having the producer in the scene and her yelling at the producer that she wasn't going to do it. And he was like, "Ariana, come on!" And then Tom being like, "Oh, that came out good for me." It's like, oh my god, like come on,
now
dude.
All the buzz on the internet is that this was a heavily produced season, more so than usual.
Had to be.
It
had to be. Like I
even
said,
when Ariana said, like, "I'm sorry, I'm not a part of your Sandoval like story arc of like
the redemption arc," yeah.
Like it was clear as day that they knew that this was what they're pushing for.
I told you from the beginning. I said the first episode or two wasn't great. It was really light, and then you saw it start to pick up when they just really made everything about that, and they just everything played off that, and everything was attached to that in some way because that's what they had to do. That's what captivated the audience online and. But
I really don't understand why they thought that redeeming Tom was what's going to be entertaining to me.
Trying to redeem him, and the whole back end of the season was everyone acting like he was redeemable, and Ariana keep telling him, no, he's playing you. And then him turn around and be like, Ariana doesn't like any of you guys. And be like, what? Like, that's the thing. It's kind of like, is Tom genuine? Is he really growing or learning or trying to mend fences and unburn bridges? And her the whole time being like, no, you're all being played. And then that final thing he said was like, see, she was probably right this whole time. He's just been playing you to look less like an asshole on this show and in the world.
Well, the one thing I saw on like the Twitters, and we'll close with this, was like it was clear as day that they're like, to these group of people, maybe Ariana might be the better person, but Tom's the better coworker. And that's why I say coworker. Like he's the one, because they were mad that she walked away and wouldn't do the scene.
Right.
Their issue wasn't with like, you have to love Tom. It's that you're not giving the producers what they want, and we are all doing what we're being told to do. You're not playing the game we're being told to play.
Right.
And I think that's their main issue, right? They like Tom better just because Tom was giving the story they wanted to give.
Takes direction better.
Yeah.
For his character.
Whereas Ariana was being quote unquote difficult, but it's like, no, she's standing firm on her boundaries.
Tom's trying to turn back babyface, and they're trying to portray Ariana as like on the verge of turning heel. That's kind of what it was. Wrestling. It all goes back to wrestling. Everything. All right. Let's wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for watching, for listening. YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, all our social links, everything. Linktree. Check it out there. And we'll be back on Thursday to talk more about wrestling.
I like this when we do this part because I get to talk more.
Well, now that I don't have a real job, we can do this twice a week. Hell, we could do it every day, but I would want to get paid for that. 2 days a week is fun.
Also, I have a job still.
Well, yeah, this really takes away. You talk for 30 minutes about TV shows. You really dig it into your work time.
Don't diminish my job.
I'm saying you don't have homework. Once you come home, you're home. Anyway, thank you all for watching, for listening, and we'll see you on Thursday. Say goodbye, Tony.
Bye, Tony.